Enterprise development and corporate social responsibility, bringing out creativity in our children, and of course, mass housing development for civil servants. These are our outlook on the program. Good morning, Abuja, as I welcome you to the breakfast show this morning on the Unity station. Good morning, everyone. I am Nolin Evel Ame. And as you can see, I am doing this alone today. Just give us 55 minutes of your time this morning and you will not regret it. And now we are bringing you the first conversation for the day on the program. We have Mr. Emmauel Morah on the program, and we're going to talk about enterprise development and corporate social responsibility. And of course, we know that corporate social responsibility is one area or is an area of modern business strategy. So our conversation is going to revolve around this as we welcome Emmauel Morah to the program. Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much, madam, and I'm glad to be here, ma'am.
Yes, we are glad to also have you.
Thank you. This is on enterprise development. It's always a good thing to always come to the studio.
All right, maybe before you go on, let our viewer get to know your profile. He's a program coordinator, National Creativity Championship, Abuja. So now, just give us, just like you were saying earlier, give us an overview of this.
The overview of actually enterprise development and as it regards to corporate social responsibility is a simple thing. In 2015, we tried to use the decisive entrepreneurial empowerment drive to see how we can get private and public organizations to share that 1% of their annual profit to put it into youth development. And we did a lot of programs then, and it is significant to note that if this 1% of corporate social responsibility of private sectors is harnessed, the government will be eased of the stress of having to do the programs by themselves. The government at present are raising less of programs like the one that they just raised in collaboration with UN, which is talking about youth internship and the rest. It's a beautiful thing, but in 2015 we actually had this outline to see how organizations can actually take, even instead of using it this 1% to actually give it out, you bring in young people to give them internship in your organization. You groom them, you make them acquire some few skills, you make them understand the working frame of an office, so that when they go by from that space, they can have a springboard of understanding how an office works before they actually get employed. So these are the things that we believe that corporate social responsibility of organization needs to be in play in helping us to solve the issue of unemployment in Nigeria.
But do you think the 1% that is generated as a profit from that organization is able to cater for the needs of the youth, unemployed youth in Nigeria, for instance?
For instance, if you look at, we're thinking about just 1%. There are over 1 million organizations in Nigeria.
Both private and government.
Both private and government,
Okay.
to over 1 million. So if you look at 1%, 1% is quite enormous. It will do a lot, because if you look at the index of inflation now, it's actually double digited, and compared to the job creation that is actually that we're actually envisaging, the job creation mode is actually low. And if we have this 1% being committed by organizations towards the development of youth and our young ones, it will actually help, because one, it will save the incidence of training and retraining. It will help in that aspect, because there's a lot of facilitation that needs to be done in the issue of training and retraining. And then also in all these little incentive of empowerment. Yes, an organization can say, okay, this year my 1%. So an organization like NNPC can say, this year my 1% is going to be I want to share it around the 36 states of the Federation. I want to be able to empower 20 young people in every state, and they can actually do that with that 1%, because 1% of NNPC's gross domestic product is running into billions. And with this money, instead of having it stuck in there, they just use it, give little, and then the most important thing in project management is monitoring. There is need for when we're actually stipulating the decided was to see create an organization that actually monitors how these corporate strategies and responsibilities are being utilized. Some people organization will come out and tell you, I've actually used my 1% on this. But who actually monitors it? Nobody monitors it. It doesn't. It just comes down and they just mention it and it goes. Maybe that 1% must have gone into a private firm's pocket that says, okay, I want to supply books to this school, and it doesn't really reach to the end. But if we are to have an agency or a parastatal that says, okay, corporate social responsibilities should be collected aggregately and used to in real term, we're doing retraining, we're doing training and retraining, we're doing the empowerment, and we're doing the monitoring. It will actually help. For instance, if you give like for this, like I want to bring back to NMPC now, they produce these oils in states that they don't have rivers anymore,
Okay.
and these rivers are being polluted. For instance, you go to that place and you say, let's train these people. These people are being used to fishing. Let's give them a new scope of how to now produce fish. Not from the rivers, not from the river right now, but creating ponds for them. These are projects that you can actually monitor, because you are seeing in the first place, you are training them. In the next place, you are giving them the incentive, you are giving them the fish pond, you are giving them the enabling environment for them. Then you are actually providing them with the fishes, with the fingerlings, and then you get in the feed production firms to like say, okay,
It's a chain value thing.
it's chain value thing to say, okay, you people give them the feeds, we monitor them. You give them a monthly stipend, like say, okay, just to cushion them, not to go start eating their product before it's ripe. You understand? You understand? So you give them those monthly incentive to say, okay, within the next 6 months, you should be producing. And after the first production, you should be standing on your own. But what we see is that at the end of the day, you see, they'll say, we are doing the corporate social responsibility, we are doing cleanups, we've gone to schools and we've given books. How many schools have you actually given books? Who monitors all this kind of utilization of this corporate social responsibility?
So now in Nigeria, in this scenario now, who is vested with the responsibility of aggregating this 1%, and who is vested also with the responsibility of monitoring this corporate social responsibility, the percentage?
I think the first thing is for the government to actually accept that there's lots of funds within the corporate social responsibility, and then make adequate policies. Basically, we operate a democratic system of government, so that means it has to be vetoed by the Senate and by the House of Assembly.
So at the moment now, it is not.
It is not. There's no.
Okay, so we're in a way advocating for it.
But we also have the Ministry of Human and Sustainable Development. I can't actually get the full name. Those people can be taxed with the responsibility of now harnessing this CSR, this corporate social responsibility, and using it effectively. You understand? Because if there's already a Ministry of Human Resources
and Social Development,
yes.
Yes.
So they can be the ones to actually stand in to say, okay, let us be the ones to be collecting, have a little arm of the government that collects this 1%. It's a tax. It's like a tax too. You understand? That when this money comes in, then you segment it. Instead of pushing it to buying books and the rest, you push it to human development, because it is when we begin to recognize the human capital potentials of our people that we actually be able to know where to push in our resources to and our revenues to.
Okay.
So I think what needs to be done is first is to identify what volume of profit is generated from organizations and know the 1%. With that 1% that we aggregated, we will now know what level of program we can actually outline as a government, as a people. And I think that the projects should be according to states, because there are states that lack in different infrastructures, as in human infrastructure. So each program should be adopted to suit specific states. You can't take fishery to the north. And the capacity. You can't take fishery to the north. You can't, if you're going to north, then you know that
it has to be peculiar to that state, what they have, their endowment.
Exactly. Like if you go to the north, there's large land space.
Okay.
Why don't you use the CSR and say,
maybe
for this
agricultural
exactly
purpose.
You just go to a particular section of farmers and say, okay, we're providing you with tractors. Come and hire this at very moderate prices. I tell you, it will boost our agricultural empowerment. But What we say mostly is, they leave everything to the Ministry of Agri, you understand? And, like the other day, they were talking about that even the education, the farm education, the farmers' education is not really being flowed out. These are aspects that the CSR can actually come in and say, now, we are not just doing it for the elderly farmers, we are doing it for the young farmers. We are trying to say, okay, let's create a forum and also whereby we go to every state and say, we're training this farmer, we're training this peculiar kind of farmers in this state. We're doing this in this state. So we identify in every state what needs to be done, and
and that will make progress, and of course, it will boost our economy
beautifully and well.
All right. Now, I understand you have a reality show talking about what exactly we're discussing, and to help conscientize people out there on what you are set out to do. Can you give us a little insight to that?
Last year we launched the National Creativity Championship. It has actually been in place since we did the deed, and it's all about recognizing the creativity in our young ones. And the age limit is from 12 to as much as 25, the youth bracket. And what we did last year was to we did it in all ramifications. We did a training picnic, we call it a training picnic at the National Stadium, where we got people that make shoes, make clothing, varieties. What we educated them was how to set up their own ventures, because one thing is to have that skill within you, another thing is to be able to take it out there to make it marketable. So we thought we gave them that training last year on marketability, but this year we said, okay, let's just get a little bit, because we've noticed that there's so much ill news going on in our systems nowadays. Our TVs, once you turn on the TV every morning, you hear that there's an incidence of death and killing, and so we said, let us do Song for Peace in Nigeria.
Okay.
So we're bringing secondary school people to actually do Song for Peace, and we have about 10 great songs that have been sung about Nigeria. And we're saying, let us stimulate our system back to the peaceful, loving country we used to have. A country that before we just travel anywhere, and you don't have to be afraid. So we need to raise our youth, young ones, to understand that Nigeria is one, and Nigeria must be at peace, and it starts from them. If they can be able to give a presentation, they are going to be giving several presentations. We have the Baptist high schools, we have lots of schools that have already shown interest, and we have the Federal Ministry of Youth that is always giving us the venue, which is the National Stadium for this year's one.
And national what?
The National Stadium,
the
venue, the MKO Abiola National Stadium.
Okay, the date?
The date is for October 2nd, 2021. Just after the time, we will be starting by 10 a.m. But on the 18th of September, we'll be having the auditions, which will now prepare us. And then we're having trainings and stakeholders meetings that will prepare for this. And
is it open for everybody, or there are requirements for this?
It's for, like I said, it's for the youth. It's for from 12 years to.
So anybody can come. Any youth can come.
Any youth can come
benefit
and benefit and be benefiting. We're going to be doing once we showcase your skill, that this is you have the talent in singing. Sorry, I wanted to. We have Afro Bees. Is a studio, is a musical studio who has actually taken care, saying that the first three winners will be given a 1-year recording deal to actually showcase their skill in music art. Why we decided to actually let's do 1-1. We said this year we're doing entertainment.
Okay.
Next year we'll be doing agri.
Okay. So we're just spreading it.
We're just spreading it. We just said, but the first edition was we did everything, but we did the trainings. But this one I said, let us streamline focus and bring out the best and the best in entertainment. Next year we'll bring out the best in
and that will even help you to assess it very well. To improve on the subsequent
and actually
ones.
grow with it.
So, all right. Because of time, we may not be able to continue this conversation. What do you have to tell Nigerian youth?
I want to tell Nigerian youth that you need to be mindful of your thought process. The mindful is from motivation to yield. That's from M, mindfully. In between this M and Y is different frame. You have the interest, you have the need, you have the duty, you have the futuristics, and you have the outcome, you have the learning process and the legacy. These are the things that make up one being an entrepreneur. You cannot just wake up and say, I want to be an entrepreneur. You must take few steps of becoming an entrepreneur. One major thing you have to do is also believe in yourself. You must, for once, believe in yourself and know that whatever you want to do has more interest and is needed around you. So when you go out there in your community, just look out for things that others are not doing, or others are doing but they're not doing well. For instance, you want to set up an eatery, go around, check it. Some people might be serving in rubber plates. You go ahead and get a clay pot and serve your food in there. And I tell you that the whole community will come and eat from there. Thank you so much.
Wow, that's a great one. We really appreciate you, Emmauel Morah, for this thought. Of course, it's a clarion call for all our youth to come together and improve themselves. We appreciate you for that.
Thank you so much.
Good luck in your next event.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, I've been speaking with Emmauel Morah. He is a program coordinator, National Creativity Championship, Abuja, and we've been talking about corporate social responsibility and enterprise development. The program continues shortly. Stay with us. All right, you're welcome back from that break. You are still watching Good Morning Abuja. And now we are entering into another conversation this morning, which is going to be on children and children creativity. Of course, you know, children are natural people that when you teach them any little thing, they grab, and after grabbing those things, they put it to use, and you see that bringing out so many good things from them, and they are natural innovators, and also they are gifted and talented. Today we are going to look at this from a special person. I call her special person because she brought out a word that is new to me, which she is going to explain on the program. And I'm introducing to you Precious Richard. Precious Richard is a founder and creative director of Creative Kids. Creative is the word I'm talking about. Good morning, Precious.
Good morning.
We are glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
All right. Let's start on this note.
Okay.
What is creative? Who is a creative kid?
Okay. When we talk about creative, we're talking about the diverse skills that are inside children. And all they need is just the trigger. So exposure matters a lot when it comes to triggering the creativity skills in a child. They are so unique that children have so many multiple skills that we can't really talk about. And the way they discover it is just through picking up signals, sighting things, using their senses to be able to grab, and then creativity springs up from that, and then before you know, they will begin to produce. There's no limit to what children can do around where they find themselves. Vicinity, they're looking at things, they're finding themselves in different places. Now, the creative activity comes up as a result of what they see, what they process in their mind, and then their ability to produce things.
Okay.
So children have this span of attention to be able to do things themselves more than we adults do, because we think way too much over a lot of things that actually kind of like come in between our way to even sit down to meditate and kind of like think of creating and innovating stuff.
All right. How do we unleash children's creativity?
Okay, like I said earlier, the exposure that they have also brings them to the point of now sitting down to do things in their own way. Now, doing it in their own way makes them begin to build that creative skills that will make them become innovators. So they're creating things in their own way, which brings us to branding. So when someone is doing things with his or her own type of idea, type of skill, a different way, you understand?
Yes.
It's not going to be the same with the next person. Even if you have same twins who do things, you understand? Let's say they cook. they won't. There's going to be a slight difference with the way the meal will come out at the end of the day, despite with the same ingredients.
Okay.
You understand? So each child have its unique potential and creative skill.
All right, what are these creativity that needs to be, harnessed in children? Can you spell them out? Let's get to know them.
The creative skills that need to be harnessed in children spans in so many ways.
Okay.
And generally now people are in school, and then from the secondary level you see them separate the classes from arts then to sciences, and then you have the social sciences and all that, of which the higher you go in the institution, it's been broken down. So you can have creativity in dance, creativity in fashion, creativity in art, creativity in painting. Creativity spans to so many things. We can't tie it down to one particular thing. So because it's multiple, children are able to do anything they can do. And there's no competition. For me, there's no competition, because a child can walk into a tailoring shop, for instance. Get to the tailoring shop. You don't need to buy fabrics. You just talk to the seamstress and say, please, may I have the pieces you're no longer using? And pick the pieces up and sit down, depending on what idea comes to the child, and begin to put pieces together and create so many things, from artwork to making small doll dresses, to making patterns for shoes, to cutting out patterns to decorate the room, to making sure that you can change any environment you find yourself.
Okay, yes, the creativity here is multifaceted. But what do you see as a challenge for a child to bring up this creativity to bear? Because you see some parents influencing children negatively. If they see a child, taking something and try to do painting or do this, do that, they are often discouraged, and that, brings them down. That gift in them might not manifest because the parents tend to maybe impose their own opinion on the children, and they want them to grow with that kind of notion. So in this case now, what would you tell parents out there as a challenge for them to know that this is not right?
In fact, we frown against parents who try to subject children to not bringing out their real self. All it will do is it will make that child timid. It's going to make that child less productive. But we advise parents to allow the child to explore, because from exploring, that child is going to do things that
it's unimaginable.
Nations, even industries cannot tell what is inbuilt in a child. God created us as creative beings. And we all are different, and we have unique ideas, and we can do unimaginable things. Now, PepsiCo, Pringles, those Coca-Cola companies, it's one man's idea. And people keep trying to innovate things, and they hit it and they become big. Each and every one of us, even while we were little, had ideas that could change the world.
Yes.
So I would advise that parents should allow children to explore at their own pace. They should put activities before them that they could do. You could walk into a bookstore. You could walk around book stands and then pick up activity books. They're everywhere. At some major bus stops, you see them outside. I picked some books just a few weeks ago about a carton full of books. You could pick books from libraries who, you understand, are no longer using them, that have kept them for lesser prices, affordable prices.
And of course, school is resuming soon. Yes, and then that will be very useful.
It will be very useful.
Okay, we have a time constraint here. And just quickly, how do we support them?
Okay. In terms of supporting children, exposure is one.
Okay.
That's the most key thing.
Okay.
And then there are things that kids don't need to buy.
Okay.
They could upcycle. That's what we advise kids at Creative Kids to do. You upcycle. What do you mean by upcycling? Now, you bought something and then it was in a carton and then you're done with the stuff inside it. You could use the carton for something else. Now, it reduces waste.
Okay.
It reduces litter. Okay. You teach the kids healthy habits. You make them to explore, to think, what can we do to this place to make it beautiful? They could cut patterns out. They could cut flowers. They could design stuff. And before you know it, their environment has been changed, courtesy of the child's skills.
Wow, that's a great one, Precious. We really appreciate you for your thought on this program, and it's quite informative for children out there. Thank you so much. We will still invite you some other time to talk on this because, of course, the topic is vast that
Yes,
we cannot exhaust it within just 15 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thank you too.
Okay. I've been speaking with Precious Richard. She is the founder, and she's a founder and creative director of Creative Kids. And of course, we've been talking about bringing out creativity in our children. Now the school is resuming. Teachers also learn a lesson from this. The program is still Good Morning Abuja. It continues shortly after this break. If you just joined us, the program is Good Morning Abuja on the Unity station. That was our break there. And now we are going to have the third conversation for the day. And this is going to revolve around public servants. Of course, we are going to talk to you on improved welfare when it comes to housing, and the right person is here to talk to us on how we can afford or get housing a house before retirement, and using our meager resources. So we have Joseph. He is a barrister. Sorry, please let me take this because I didn't really say what I want to say. Okay. Final take on this. Welcome back from that break. The program is still Good Morning Abuja on NTA Channel 5. And now we are going to take our third conversation for the day. And this is going to revolve around public servants' improved welfare scheme. And the scheme we're talking about here is housing scheme. And somebody is here to tell us more on how we can get house. We can afford our own house before retirement. And Barrister Bison Joseph is here with us on the program to shed more light on this. Welcome to the program, sir, and good morning to you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we are glad to have you here.
Yes.
Yes, please, can you tell us what exactly you are doing?
Yeah, once again, my name is Barrister Bison Joseph. I am the Executive Director, Posh Rare Estate Land and Home Ownership Scheme, and the coordinator of Public Servant Improved Welfare Scheme and Retirement Plan. Our vision for Public Servant Improved Welfare Scheme and Retirement Plan is born out of the vision that civil servant, as they call always referred to,
yes, of
or
course,
public servant,
yes,
public servant or civil servant, are a huge market when it comes to real estate and property development. But however, there is a challenge of equity, because in real estate there must be equity contribution by allottees or participants to be able to qualify for such a project or allotment. But we have been able to provide a solution to the equity challenge. We have been able to define our project by saying that, okay, public servant can start by owning a land, what we call land ownership scheme, at a very affordable price, at a flexible schedule of payment, To that extent, we have been able to acquire some piece of land up to 50 hectares in Karishi, particularly joined to Navy Estate Karishi. Most of our properties are under Nasarawa State for obvious reasons.
Of course.
Because we have a better route of title on those properties as compared to other policies that are very inconsistent in other places. So we have such properties, and we say, yes, a civil servant has a source of income. To that extent, we refer to that salary as collateral, that we can afford to give the land on credit to the civil servant. Then we now program a schedule, a feasible schedule of payment, what we call instrumental payment, for a tenure period of 24 months.
24 months. At what percentage? As in what percent?
Yes, we talk about at what price. The price must be at the size of the land. What we did is that we partitioned the land into 1,000 square meter, what the surveyor sometimes measure as 100 by 100 feet, or 500 square meter, what they call 100 by 50 feet.
Okay.
Then 300 square meter, that is approximately 50 by 50 feet.
So you've not spoken about the price.
Okay, yes, the price is according to the size now.
Okay.
So for 50 by 50 feet, which is 300 square meter, is 350,000 naira.
Okay.
Then the 100 by 50, which is 500 square meter, is we're looking at 650 and 500,000 naira, depending on the location, because there are various locations.
Okay.
Then the 1,000 square meter, looking at 1,000,000, 1.3. But the target land size for an average civil servant from level 1 to 7 is 350.
Okay.
Then from level 7 to 14 is 500 square meter, which is 650 or 500,000. Then for directors and other higher cadre, they will program them for 1,000 square meter, which is around 1.3 million.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's the requirement for obtaining this land? What are the steps that civil servants need to take? Those watching us out there that are interested in this. So what are the steps they need to take, to acquire this land?
Simply put, the offer for allotment is based on individual subscription, because we believe that as an average civil servant, you own yourself the decision on when it comes to housing. So we make forms available for subscription. After filling our form of subscription, it will now indicate the location and the size of the land. And by extension, now you will now know the price.
Do you also build and lease out?
Yes. We also, presently, as I'm talking to you now, we have a housing scheme adjoining to Navy Estate.
Okay.
We have one bedroom, two bedroom, and three bedroom.
Okay.
I think we're just mobilizing two sides. Okay. So that one, you don't need to get land. The land is we're building on existing land, and there's no equity on that.
Okay, no price range.
The price range is 1 bedroom is 7 million, 2 bedroom is 9 million, and 3 bedroom is 40 million.
So how can they contact you to get this?
Yes, our office is at plot 510 Lusingo Basenjo Way, Wuse Zone 1, Abuja, what they referred to as Ali Brothers in those days.
Okay.
But before we run it up, there's this mass housing is for improved welfare scheme, while the retirement plan is on what a civil servant can start doing while he's in service, so that he can she or her, he
As
or
a
she
planning for retirement.
planning for retirement.
Okay.
We now recommended a project known and called Mass Integrated Agro Estate and Resource.
Okay.
Under that scheme, there is also a window of funding for target allottees to have money from our financier and strategic partner.
Okay. We
We have designated 1,000 hectares of land in one place
Okay.
along Karishi Takalafia Road, adjoining to Laminga. Is a large expanse of land where infrastructures will be put in place. You have a place where you have your farmhouse. You have a place where you have a place you can practice either livestock or crop production.
Okay.
And all these budgets is put together, and that one has a longer tenure period of almost 5 years. So we have our financier that will provide the money, and then you now, by subscription, once you fill our form, we'll now plan on what you will do.
Okay, sir.
And all these ones, by God's grace, you won't be relying on your salary.
Okay.
You have
alternative source of
income, legitimate,
Legitimate
because farming is the only profession that the law allowed for public servants to venture
run, yes.
into.
All right.
And when you are retiring, you are not contemplating on what to do. You just resume into your farm.
Definitely.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much,
my pleasure.
Barrister Bisong Joseph,
yes.
for this vital information for the civil servants out there. Thank you.
The pleasure is mine.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, we've been speaking with Barrister Bisong Joseph. He is the Executive Director, Posh Royal Estate Limited. He is also a coordinator, Public Servants Welfare Scheme and Retirement Plan. And the conversation, of course, has been around housing estate and housing scheme for public servants who are still in service and those that also have retired. And the program is still Good Morning Abuja. Our sports comes next. And that does it on Good Morning Abuja, your breakfast show on the Unity Station, NTA Channel 5. We thank you so much for giving us your 55 minutes of your time this morning. And I hope you have learned a lot from our guests, ranging from enterprise development and corporate social responsibility. Of course, Emmauel Morah did justice to that topic, and coming down to creativity in children. Precious Richard surprised us with a lot of information for our children. And of course, rounding up the program with a good news from Aji Bisong Joseph, who is a barrister and talking to us about the real estate and mass housing for the civil servants. And we'll still do this same time, same station tomorrow. We have a lot of information to bring your way. Keep it up with us tomorrow. I am Nolin Evel Ame. It's bye for now.